recorded from a secret location in the city that moves mountains. Greetings.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yes, you are, my friend, and we are in October. And you know what that means?
Free candy?
Free candy. And we get a chance to dress up. What are you going to dress up like in Halloween?
I'm just going to take my makeup off.
Take your makeup off. That's a good one. I'm going to dress up in a Superman suit.
Yeah?
I actually have one. You know that, right?
Yeah, I've seen a picture.
Yes, you did. And probably what I'll do is I may dress up every day this month. Every single day.
Bless you.
Thank you. What? No comments, no nothing on that?
I don't think I need to make a comment.
Okay. We are in the month of October, and we briefly explained on last Sunday's podcast towards the end what that would mean. We actually have a listener that wrote in asking about it, so I'm not going to explain what we have in store right now, but we will be getting to that momentarily. What do you think about the temperatures cooling down a little bit?
I'm thankful.
Oh, man. No, you're not one of those cold weather lovers, are you?
I look like a dang grizzly bear. Of course I am.
Oh, my gosh, man. I mean, come on.
Sleeveless shirt and shorts all year long. The moment it hits 25 degrees, I put on the sandals.
So
that is a true story.
That's like summertime for you then.
Heck yeah.
You know, I love the summer, and yeah, you may hear me say, man, it's hot, but you'll never hear me say, I wish it would cool down. I wish it would snow. I'm not into that.
I didn't say anything about the snow and ice. I just said the temperature.
I still don't like cold temperatures.
I mean, you can always add more layers, but you can only get so naked.
See, and that's what everybody says. You can always add more layers. You can't take much off. You know, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, we won't have a bad winter this year.
Yeah, if we don't have the same ice we did last year, that'd be great, because I don't want to go sliding down my driveway into the street again trying to get in the car.
I'd rather slide down the driveway than lose power. I don't like losing electricity.
I mean, I party with the Amish, so I'm good.
Well, hey, there you go. You ever churn butter?
Yeah. It
really
sucks. It sucks.
So you really have then?
Yeah, I have an actual hat that I was given to me from an Amishman in Lancaster, PA, for basically as like an acceptance gift.
Now, something I've always wondered, and you can tell me, do Amish people, are they aware of Weird Al Yankovic and his song Amish Paradise?
Some are not. Some are more in tune with the outside world than anyone ever thinks or believes.
The ones that you know that are aware of it, do they like it? Do they think it's funny?
They laugh at it. In fact, so there's if anybody's seen the show Amish Mafia back on the Discovery Channel.
Yes.
Okay. I actually know some of them guys, and Jolyn, I actually worked on his truck.
Okay. I watched a few episodes of that, but I really couldn't take it that serious.
It was hard to take seriously, but I was able to give the local people to me at the time, who did say it was just a crock of poop. There is actually quite a bit of legitimacy. And actually one of my good police friends caught a guy on Rumspringa driving a 1970 Dodge Challenger, clocked him at 163 miles an hour in a 45.
Wow.
Trunk full of cocaine.
Wow. And he was part of the Amish Mafia.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're going to jump straight into email. I'm going to go first this week. Last name Sloan says, you need Justin Perkins on the radio show more. He did great filling in. Bring on the year candy.
Last name Sloan. I agree.
What did and that's what I said, wasn't it? Last name Sloan, or did I say first name Sloan?
No, you said last name Sloan.
Okay, last name Sloan. Justin did a great job, and he has an open invite. He'll be on the show again anytime he wants to. We will have some more, believe it or not, segments coming up that we may not play entirely on the radio show, but we will feature those. And how do you feel since you fell into the vat of barbecue sauce?
I mean, well, I don't have to worry about it as of this morning.
Okay, so yeah, definitely.
It's someone else's problem now.
Well, there you go. That's one way to look at it. So,
yeah. I feel bad for anyone who doesn't know that joke, but it's okay. It's probably better off. So next up, we have Dirty Stan, my man, Dirty Stan, writing in.
Been a while since he wrote in.
It has been. It's been a good month and a half at least.
Yeah.
Says, hello, Dirty Dan. Dirty Stan here. I'm really loving the radio and the podcast show. When is DJ Nikki going to be on again? I'll be honest, I was a little let down by the Ingersoll Lockwood site. I think DJ is a great guest to have on, and there is so much I want to know about him, the person, anyway. Anyway, I'll end for now. I'm looking forward to the next interview with him, Roswell. I think we all were a little bit let down with that. There, Dirty Stan. Yeah. I know Goose and I have talked several times on that. But DJ is indeed a great guest, great man. And we've been talking for a couple weeks now, trying to figure out the best time for him to come back on again and spend some time with the Here to Chew Bubblegum family.
So he will definitely be back on soon. And
as soon as we have a date set, we'll let you know.
Yeah, definitely. And thank you very much, Dirty Stan, for writing out. I do have a question for you, Dirty Stan. Where did you get your name?
Well, he's over at the chicken pit.
Okay. He's at the chicken pit. Let's see. The next one is from Ned Fan. Hey, Goose and Dirty Dan, I'm so glad that we finally got some new Ned Seds. I've missed Ned. When will he be in the studio again? All we need now is Elliot's articles, and my ear candy craving will be satisfied. Sincerely, Ned Fan for life. Well, it's funny that you mentioned Elliot's articles, because I saw Elliot over the weekend. I can't say where at or what we're doing. You will find out later on this month. And
teaser.
He will be getting me some of those articles. We talked about it, and season 2's starting very soon. As far as Ned coming back into the studio, I don't know when that will be. He does have a open invite. His schedule is a little bit different now from what it used to be. But I'm glad that he came in a couple weeks ago, and he laid down about 3 months worth of Ned Seds. So we've got Ned Sed for quite a while. So
I mean, that's at least 12 then.
Yeah. So he
my math is right.
Yeah. Your math is right.
Can I borrow your fingers? I only got 10.
Sure. Yes. Sure. I think there's actually 5 Sundays this month, though. So.
Oh, shoot. Rebecca. Next up, we have Benjamin. He says, hello, Goose and Dirty Dan. Do you have any updates on any of the following topics that you've talked about on the show? Paintsville train versus UFO. That will be coming up soon. My insider has obtained the STB report.
And
that was done.
And hopefully, once we get that, we will have some more information,
including a case number.
Or we will call them on the air, give them the case number, and you'll hear it when we play back the episode.
Next one he asked about is the Ingersoll Lockwood website.
Well, the countdown clock did stop. They put up a new countdown clock. I've not looked at it in probably over a week. I've not looked at it.
It's been 2 for me.
So it's probably closer to 2. It's between 10 and 14 days for me. So,
business or actual? You almost said yes.
Yes.
10 business days, which is 14 actual days.
Yeah.
That math.
Yeah. So
the next one is actually one I inquired to you about recently, Goose. It's listener Adam, whose grandfather works for NASA.
Yes, we have not heard anything back from him. The last email that we got from him is when the Spooky family filled in for us and did a show, and they read one of his emails. I have to go back and pull that email, because I think he said he was visiting this summer, and we know now we're technically in fall, so hopefully we'll be hearing from him soon.
Yes, however, one of our other guests also has ties to NASA.
Well, that is good. That is good.
So hopefully when he's back on, we can divulge into a little about that.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, wink, wink.
Took me a minute there.
Yeah, I watched your feathers curl. We got the Hazard, Kentucky mine explosion that had secrecy surrounding it, and that it was a possible UFO crash. Actually, if that's the Belva mine incident,
when did this happen? I think me and you mentioned this one maybe a week ago.
There's a couple different ones in Kentucky, but the Belva mine incident that I know was in 4 Mile, Kentucky.
Okay.
And it
happened less than 10 years ago, right?
That one is from 2006, the one you're thinking of. Mine was from Christmas of 45.
Okay. Well, this one I think is actually talking about the one that was in 2013 or 14. We read about it on the show before.
We did, didn't we?
Yes.
I know.
And I have reached out to somebody. I do have another contact now that can reach out to that person for me. So we're still doing an investigation on that one as well. We may have to revisit that one. Even if nothing new comes up, we'll still have to revisit it. And, maybe we could, some of the listeners that are new to the show could help us figure something out or something to that effect.
And Benjamin finishes it up with, I'll listen for your answer, and thank you for taking the time to read my email, Roswell. Benjamin, as we've said before, and I said in my first midweek moment, which now I will remind myself to send you the second one, we will always read your emails.
Yes.
It can be 13 pages long. Goose might be a little upset, might have his feathers ruffled.
Goose might edit it out.
Goose will not edit it out. I will read it.
Edit it out.
Goose will not edit it out, or Goose will be dinner.
No, Goose might edit it out. Tiffany says, so you've mentioned on yesterday's podcast show that you're going to do an office theme show in November. Has a date been set? What will the show be like? I'm a huge fan of The Office, and I'm really looking forward to this show. Also, will this be the podcast only, radio, or both shows? Keep it up, guys. Yes, we did. For those of you that's not listened to the podcast yet,
slackers.
Yes, you are first slackers. But we had Eli Griffith in the studio last Sunday, and we were going back and forth, me and him, and I think Rebecca and yourself.
Yes.
And we are going to, and Eli has agreed to come back. I think November the 7th is the first Sunday. So I guess what we'll do is me and Rebecca and Eli will compete with Dirty Dan asking the trivia questions. Or should it be like you ask trivia questions to Rebecca and Eli, and whoever wins goes on? That way you'll be able
a round robin.
Yeah, that way you'll be able to do the office trivia.
Goose.
Yes, there you go. But that way you'll be able to join in the fun as well. So
I mean, I am also a very large Office fan.
Okay.
In fact, I got Rebecca with Gabe's Elongate earlier.
Okay.
So I would love to be able to be a part of that and not just be the commentator.
Right. Okay. Well, how about we come up with brackets like Eli versus Rebecca? You read the questions, and then Rebecca will read against me and you, and then we'll put the two winners together.
I used to be all about March Madness, so I will draft up some brackets real quick.
Draft up the brackets during that show. If there's any science, tech, or UFO news going on, we'll read it. We'll read our emails. We will probably give some unknown facts or behind the scenes facts or not quite known facts about The Office. If we can get away with it, we may even play some music from The Office.
Is Justin Perkins an Office fan?
I'm not sure.
Because I feel like he would actually be a great one to lead us on that.
Well, yes, he would. But
especially if he's not an Office fan, then he won't be biased.
Yes. See, but if you've got four people going against each other, where two on Zoom, two in the studio, it'd be kind of hard. You see what I mean? We could break it up in groups of two. Yes, it would.
That's Twitter talk.
No, it's not. Tiffany, hopefully I answered that question for you. And but I'm looking forward to that too. So
Well, the last email for today is from Unknown. And they just wanted to say that they agree with Goose. Patron is my favorite brand of tequila as well, Roswell. So they're a listener because they know to say Roswell. However, I disagree with them. I reject their reality and substitute my own. That means they've never had Ka tequila. Go out and treat yourself, Parks and Rec reference.
There you go.
And go get a bottle of Ka because you will thank me immensely.
The email about October, that may have been in some from last week. But to answer somebody's question, the month of October, we're going to celebrate Halloween all month long. In every radio and podcast show, we will have a guest ghost story. We will, during breaks, we'll be playing some Kentucky spooky stories that are narrated by my daughter, Mercedes. We'll be talking about Halloween-related topics, paranormal, normal, scary stuff, all that good stuff, right?
Strokes included, yes.
That's about what there's so many things I could say right now. There's so many things I could say, but I have to remember that we're doing a radio show.
Bruce Almighty. Bah! Bah! Freaking out in the car.
Oh, yes. But I want to thank all the listeners for their emails. You can always call, text, or leave a voicemail by calling 606-373-3396. That's 606-373-3396. Or they can email us. How can they do that, Dirty Dan?
Well, they'd first have to have a device that could email. But then if they did, they can email Goose at HereToChewBubblegum.com, Dirty Dan at HereToChewBubblegum.com, and Rebecca at HereToChewBubblegum.com. Or you can drop a line and say, hey, what's up to Ned or Elliot at HereToChewBubblegum at Yahoo.com.
That is right. We're going to take a short break, and you will hear a Kentucky spooky story. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about an Eastern Kentucky unknown creature. What are you going to talk about, Dirty Dan? What's one thing you're going to talk about?
I have UFO. I have a UFO story, and I have a time traveler story.
Ooh, loving the sound of that. You are listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum, and we will be back in just a moment.
Are you a horror movie fan? Yeah, I dig horror movies. Are you searching for a great internet horror talk radio show to listen to? Why, sure, that sounds quite spiffy. Then you need to tune into deadpit.com. It's the original horror talk radio show. Dead Pit is a show by the fans and for the fans. Uncensored and unbiased opinions are the goal of the show, giving fans honest reviews on new films and vintage classics of the horror genre. Make deadpit.com your #1 horror station destination.
It's now time for a Kentucky spooky story with Mercedes.
Carl Pruitt and the Chain Strangler. In the June of 1938, in a little town in eastern Kentucky, Carl came home and caught his wife cheating. Her lover escaped out of the window, but in his wrath, Carl strangled his wife with a small length of chain. Realizing what he'd done, he then committed suicide and was buried in a cemetery away from his wife. Several weeks later, cemetery workers noticed his gravestones had become discolored and the pattern of a chain, and become frightened. James Collins, a local boy, threw stones at Carl's grave, and on his way home, the chain came off his back, strangling him as he wrecked. James's mother, in her grief, destroyed Carl's grave with a small axe. The next day, while hanging out the family's laundry, she slipped and strangled on her clothesline. There were several other strange strangling incidents, totaling 5, but Carl's grave remained untouched till 1958. A strip mine destroyed the grave when initiating a new project.
You've been listening to a Kentucky spooky story with Mercedes.
Take a lighter look into the darker side of the world. Join Elliot, Gertie, and Beagle as they jump into the dark abyss of hauntings, fables, UFOs, and beyond. The Spooky Family Podcast. You can find them where you listen to quality podcasts.
You're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. If Abraham Lincoln were alive, he'd listen, but he's dead.
And you are listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
You want a popsicle?
Segment one, I'm going to start off talking about a large unknown creature that approaches Eastern Kentucky resident. And you can find this story on phantomsandmonsters.com. An Eastern Kentucky resident encounters a large unknown creature while filling a bird feeder on the slope behind his house. The story says, when I was a teen, my parents would take me and my older sister to my relative's house in Eastern Kentucky, around Letcher County. The closest city was Whitesburg, Kentucky. My uncle, who taught me everything I know about the outdoors, lived in a cabin nestled in a holler, and it does say holler, way back in the mountains. His place was at the base of a big strip mine seam up on the mountainside. He and I used to go sit out on his back porch at night and use predator calls to try to call something out of the hills. Well, one night, he and I were out there using one of his tapes. We'd been out there for about 2 hours and seen nothing, so we were thinking of calling it a night. We were about to pack everything up when I realized that the squirrel feeder was empty. He then decided to go back and fill it up with seed. His feeder was about 50 yards from his cabin on the side of the mountain and bordered the tree. While filling up the feeder, he saw a creature with red eyes. It was hiding in the bushes. My uncle told others this. A few minutes later, we returned to investigate, but the creature was gone. Small bushes were knocked down, indicating that something had been there. So that's just one of the stories of unknown creatures in Eastern Kentucky. That one taking place in Letcher County, not far from Here to Chew Bubblegum headquarters.
To keep up with young hip kids today, we have a time travel story that comes from TikTok. A user on TikTok has gone viral, and I mean viral, after claiming to be a time traveler from just 6 years in the future. The alleged time traveler goes by the username Unicos Breviviente. It's something Spanish, and only provides his first name, Javier. According to Unilad, Javier's username translates to only survivor. A Google translation of his bio, which is written in Spanish, reads, "My name is Javier, and I'm alone in the world." Javier's first video posted in February of 2021, and it depicts the scenes throughout the city of Valencia, Spain, that look relatively normal, except for one fact. This city appears to be completely void of people. In the video, which has been now viewed over 7 million times, he claims to be a time traveler from the year 2027. He says that by then, humanity will have gone extinct. A translation of the text within the video describes the airy scene. Reads, "Nobody in shopping malls, nobody on the streets." In a video posted soon after, he adds, "I keep trying to find human life. I'm starting to lose hope." The city scenes Javier depicts in this video look unremarkable, aside from the lack of people. Clothing stores are all filled up with neatly stacked items for sale. Cars are parked along clean city streets, and buildings appear to be in good condition. The account has now accumulated over 1.3 million followers, and his videos have a combined of 7 million likes. Many of the comments on his videos attempt to prove Javier's claims to be untrue, though. "If he's posting, then he's in our present time," wrote one user. "That and advertisements and signs would look different, and clothes in stores, LOL. He was at the mall before it opened. I see boats in the water," wrote another. Others ask him to back up his claims with more proof. "If you really are from the future, then use a song from the future or show us something made after 2021, wrote one commenter. Javier is not the first instance of TikTok users claiming to be time travelers, though. Another popular TikTok time traveler is user at 2029man. who refers to himself as the messenger. He claims to have been sent back to the present day as punishment. His videos feature outlandish claims about future events such as global Wi-Fi outages and celebrity scandals. Many of that 2029 man's claims regarding events in the first months of 2021 have already proven to be untrue.
Have you saw the one guy on TikTok that's a time traveler, like lone survivor 2027, and he's supposed to be in or near Orlando, Florida? Have you saw that?
I have not, but I actually have seen some of the 2029 man's videos.
Okay. Now this kid from Florida that's posting, I think he said his name was either Adam or Michael. And it's shot with an iPhone, and you can obviously tell in some places. There was one, he was at a gas station that was supposed to be abandoned, and you could briefly see somebody's reflection in the window. Somebody pointed that out. That video got removed, put back up later, and there was a sign over the window where that person was at previously. I mean, this kid is very skilled. I mean, if you've got the skills to edit video like that from a cell phone, and I'm sure he probably uploads it to computer and edits. I mean, but video editing is hard. I mean, and I have done video editing where I've removed people or put objects in, and, back in the mid 2000s, even up to 2011, you're talking.
Buddy,
I mean,
I can't even edit a photo.
I mean, it's very, very, very difficult, very time consuming as well. Well, the Rhode Island's haunted conjuring house is now for sale. One of America's most notorious haunted houses is on the market, and this quaint little farmhouse in Rhode Island could conjure up some great opportunities for those interested in the paranormal. It's been a long day today, man. The house is located at 1677 Round Top Road in the village of Harrisville, and it was made famous by the 2013 horror blockbuster The Conjuring, not as the house featured in the film, but as the real-life haunted house where the Perron family endured nearly a decade of intense paranormal activity in the 1970s. The farmhouse was just sold a little over 2 years ago at a price of $440,000, and it's now on the market for, guess how much? $1.2 million.
Good Lord.
The people that bought the house a few years ago turned it into a paranormal business. There are people lined up to visit and investigate the home starting at $125 per person with a minimum of 6 people, and they are booked up the next year and beyond. Owning the Conjuring house the last 2 years has been a changing event for us, said Jennifer Heisen, who bought the house along with her husband Corey back in June of 2019. We have done and accomplished way more than we expected, in a good way. Things here are not always rays of sunshine, you think? I always say it's an emotional roller coaster with ups and downs. We have met some great people along the way. Again, if you have an extra $1.2 million, you can go to Rhode Island and buy the Conjuring house. Not the one that was in the movie, but the one that inspired the movie. Have you ever saw The Conjuring?
Yes.
I've saw it once. I've not saw any of the other ones, I don't think. We'll have to do a list next week. Maybe you can do this on yours, because Dirty Dan will be doing spooky stuff next week, of the most recognizable haunted houses in America. The first one comes to mind to me is the Amityville house, because it had the classic upstairs windows. They're not there currently, but
the Amityville Horror Story.
Yeah, and those just the way that they had those windows, that just looked really evil to me.
I actually used to live not too far from where M. Night Shyamalan lived.
Did you really? Did you ever meet him?
I did, twice.
What kind of guy was he?
Not nearly the kind of guy you'd expect to be able to have such horrific and gory movies made.
Well, you do know what his original, that got him first into films, his scripts that were bought by studios was, right?
No.
Stuart Little. He was the creator of Stuart Little. Yes. He wrote.
I was going to say I loved that movie, but I still love it.
Yeah. I think he was in high school when he wrote the actual screenplay, his senior year of Stuart Little. for like an English or some language class. And, they told him it was so good. Then he had connections through his sister. I think his sister's boyfriend at the time, or fiance, worked for a studio. And, yeah, that's how he got his start. Stuart Little. So, on to the UFO story, my friend.
I had no idea about that.
Yes, you can look that up. That is true.
Oh, I believe you. I absolutely believe you. That's a little mind blowing because like the dude's a totally normal guy.
Yeah.
Totally cool. Don't even recognize people. And how I met him the first time was actually because of an Office reference.
Really?
When Michael Scott's in his new condo and him and Jim are talking about, and he swears he sees Johnny Depp, and then Jim goes, M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh,
that was actually a conversation. He goes, "Oh, I love that," and turn around. I'm like,
yep. But he wrote the screenplay, Stuart Little.
Back to the UFOs now. So I have two different ways we can do this, Goose. I actually have two kind of stories. One is a little shorter and not so much UFO-ish, but was kind of implied that something not human put this here.
Right.
Or there's an article that I have that are called the 9 most convincing alien abduction stories in modern history. And I can read the basic intro and have you pick one of the 9 or 2 of the 9 if you want. And we can talk about that.
Well, yes. Let's do that.
All right. Well, I will start out then. From the 1969 Berkshire's UFO incident to the eerie tale of Barney and Betty Hill, these alien abduction stories might even make skeptics believe that the truth is out there. On September 20th, 1961, Betty and Barney Hill were driving through the White Mountains of New Hampshire when they said a bright light came out of the sky. 2 hours later, they were back in their driveway with no memory of what happened or where they'd been. According to their subsequent reports, the couple had traveled to Zeta Reticuli, a star system 39 light years from Earth. Betty was even inexplicably able to draw an accurate, detailed map of the sky as seen from that star. This was the first noteworthy alien abduction story in modern history, and their tale captivated the nation that had scarcely heard anything like it before. And in the years that followed, countless other tales of alien and UFO abductions emerged, each containing new details of grotesque, otherworldly creatures. In 1971, there was the Pascagoula incident, which allegedly saw 2 fishermen taken from a riverbank in Mississippi and held captive aboard an alien ship. Then in 78, there was the Travis Walton abduction, during which a Texas man vanished for 5 whole days. Allegedly. While there is yet to be any proof of these first-hand accounts are real, the 9 alien stories listed are certainly detailed enough to cause chills. So we have Barney and Betty Hill's alien abduction.
That one's obviously true.
I mean, it is pretty dang convincing. We have the 69 Berkshire's UFO incident that shocked the entire town. We have the UFO abduction of Whitley Strieber while he was writing a sci-fi script. We have the Pascagoula incident. This one kind of piqued my interest. The UFO abduction of pilot Frederick Valentich while he was mid-flight. We have Travis Walton, who was abducted and probed for 5 days. We have the UFO abductions of Aubrey and Debbie Hewins from their childhood room. That was also a little curious for me. And then the last one is the alien story of Marine veteran Terrell Copeland that saw him abducted while napping.
I think I like the one on the children. I don't think I've heard that one before.
The Audrey and Debbie Hewins abducted from their childhood room?
Yes.
Okay. Audrey and Debbie Hewins not only claim that aliens exist, but that alien abductions do too, and they've experienced them. I was probably about 5 years old or so, said Audrey, and a bright blue light would come into the room and the door would open. And there would be like a foggy kind of misty blue light just shining through the whole house, and these 2 figures would come in. Though Audrey's first alien abduction allegedly occurred during childhood, she claimed these visitations continued well into adulthood. We have been together on abduction, stated Audrey. We have been up in crafts and seen our house from above. So we realize they're not from here. They are very good at mind erasing or whatever you want to call it. They'll leave you with bits and pieces of things you can and can't remember. Debbie added, I remember one time being on a spaceship and standing there on the spaceship, and the floor, excuse me, and the floor and the walls disappeared, and I was just staring at the earth. Though the twins refer to these entities as the bald men, what they've described to people willing to listen closely resembles what UFOologists have dubbed alien grays or simple grays. Grays are alleged to be a type of extraterrestrial being that is human-like in form. However, it's gray-colored and with an enlarged, hairless head. The twins said they pleaded with their parents not to put them to bed for fear of encountering the bald men, but the adults simply dismissed these alien stories as a ruse to stay up longer. They started doing all kinds of experiments on us when we were 12, said Audrey. While she was initially hesitant to come forward, Audrey claimed that after a non-human entity saved her from drowning in the ocean, she was inspired to dedicate her life to openly discussing her alien abduction experiences. Neuroscientist Robert Davis, who was one of the first professionals to lend his support to the twins, explained that Audrey and Debbie Hewen's experience are shared by many thousands, if not millions, worldwide. It's unreasonable to think that they would be at all lying or reporting dreams and fantasies, he said. These events are consistently reported and should be taken seriously by everyone in spite of their uniqueness.
Yeah, I had never heard that one before. And does it say how old those kids were?
Well, they are adults now.
Right.
And I actually do remember seeing a video on YouTube with Debbie Hewens now that I read that story, and I see the video above, actually. And they are 55, 57 now.
Okay. So, and they're still adamant that happened to them when they were younger, and
they're still adamant that it's still going on.
Really? So
Yeah.
wow. I wonder if they've ever had any x-rays, if there's anything like embedded, that shouldn't be there.
They did a live MRI on the one video.
Did that?
And there was nothing found that that indicates anything other than normal brain function or operation.
Wow, that's a fascinating story. I'd never heard of that one, and I've heard of a lot of them. We're going to take a short break and let you enjoy the debut of the mysterious Appalachian Mountains with Seth Ambergy. Then we'll be going to break, coming straight back in segment 2. What are we going to be talking about in segment 2, Dirty Dan?
I'd actually like to read you the story that intrigued me the most, which was the one of pilot Frederick Valentique.
Okay, you will hear that. I'll be talking about some top 10 scary movies that I disagree with. Dirty Dan will have something else for us, and if we have time, I will tell you about some Kentucky places that are supposedly haunted. You're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. We're going straight into the mysterious Appalachian Mountains with Seth Ambergy.
Welcome to the mysterious Appalachian Mountains with Seth and Earl here on Here to Chew Bubblegum. And if you would like to send your story for us to read and give our opinion on it, you can send it to seth.ambergy14@gmail.com. And we will read your email on the show, and we will give our opinion on the story about Bigfoot or anything cryptid or just anything, man. And we're definitely excited about this. And this sighting that we're reading today was here in Knott County, Kentucky. It was in 2009. They uploaded it on the Kentucky Bigfoot Organization.com in 2011, and it was in Perkins Branch Mountain, and it lasted 30 seconds, and they witnessed one Bigfoot. Here's the story. My dad was driving me home on Sunday afternoon and was coming around the corner of the mountain just before you drive down toward the bottom. We were talking as we normally do, and he just slammed on his brakes and started. I thought he was just kidding because my dad's the joker type, but I soon noticed the fear in his eyes and realized it was no joke. I finally got him to speak. It had left him speechless. He said as he drove around the corner, a big gray and brown all over haired figure ran before, even faster than he ever seen anything upright run before, even a human. It ran across the road and up the hill, as if the rocky surface and the steepness of the hill was no problem, unhuman completely. And then they asked, describe the creature with detail. Very big, tall, ran very fast, gray and brown long hair all over. Additional info, the interviewer asked, and the witness gave, my dad is the type of guy that is fearless. He isn't afraid of anything. I've never seen my dad so terrified in my life. The hill is seeable from my house, and I've been up there many times afterwards. And my family, my dad, aunt, grandmother, grandma deceased, have always been really protective of their children and family pertaining to that area. Just recently, we discovered a footprint, but weren't able to take any pictures and tried to communicate by knocking on the tree with a rock. To our surprise, did we get one single knock back? Very distant. We don't really broadcast our experiences, though, because we don't want to come off as crazy. A follow-up in 2011. Spoke to the witness over the phone at a great length. This person is very sincere and credible. He came around a corner, approximately 40 yards in front of his vehicle. He caught a glimpse and extremely fast, hairy creature sprinting across the road. It was a brownish gray color with medium long hair. Its arms were long and swung by its side. He estimated the creature at about 6 foot tall, 6'5" tall, 6 foot tall, and 250 pounds. It was athletic looking, not like the Patterson footage. He kept stressing during our phone conversation, the interviewer says. The amazing speed of this creature, he stated. If I blinked, I would have missed it. It did not want to be seen. As it crossed the one-line road, it went up a rocky embankment without hesitation. This person slowed his vehicle and almost to a stop. As he approached the location where it crossed, no further signs were noticed. After dropping his daughter off, the person returned to the location and took photos of 2 tracks he promised to find and submit shortly. Not sure if that guy submitted, but what is your opinion on that, Earl, as a Bigfoot researcher?
Well, the story sounds very credible. And that being said, there has been, to go along with that, I know of some other sightings and stories from that very same area, which is not very far from where I live. So, yeah, to me, it sounds very credible.
Me as well, man. And it definitely sounds legit, and it doesn't seem like they're lying, and it seems like they was very scared. And what is your thoughts on the height of the creature being 6'5"?
Well, that would kind of, to me, would indicate maybe a younger one, but then with the gray and the color, they said that would indicate an older one. So, I would say it probably moves fast on him, but it was probably a little bit taller than that.
Yeah, they could be half human in strength, just like us, man. You never know.
Yeah. So
absolutely, man. And this has been a lot of fun. And like I said, send us stories that you guys have got for us on our email, and that is seth.ambergy14@gmail.com. We'll read the story here on air, and we will give our opinion. And we want to thank you guys for listening. We want to thank Here to Chew Bubblegum for having us. And y'all have a good night, and God bless.
Hello, everyone. This is Gary Sloan. The City of Coal Run Village Mayor Andrew Scott and City Commissioners Big Joe Atkins, Trey Deskins, Beverly Joe Osborne, and Mike Steele encourage you to shop local. With over 200 businesses in the City of Coal Run Village, they offer games, restaurants, gas, auto parts, cars, and much more. You'll find this and so much more waiting for you in the City of Coal Run Village. Shop local and shop often.
When you want fresh, authentic Mexican food, you want El Picante in Coal Run. Dine on sizzling hot fajitas, the freshest pico de gallo, or if you're craving their secret ingredient jalapeno dip, the only place you'll find it is El Picante. Look, there are Mexican restaurants on every corner. The difference is in the mouth-watering food and the great service you'll get at El Picante in Coal Run. Visit El Picante for lunch today.
From the heart of Appalachia, located under a shopping mall near the city that moves mountains, you're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum with Goose and Dirty Dan.
And we are back, or you are back, with Here to Chew Bubblegum.
Hopefully I can talk now without sounding like I've got a mouthful of marbles in my mouth. I want to thank Seth Ambergy for the mysterious Appalachian Mountains. You can tune in on the radio show every week for a new episode with Seth.
And if you like Seth so much, check him out on YouTube at Seth's Daily Podcast.
Yes, he does one of these every single day.
And he had us on it.
And we're going to be on it again.
And he's been with us. Well, yes, he will be.
Yes. Dirty Dan, go ahead with your story about pilot Frederick. Man, it still sounds like
so much for
marbles.
the marbles.
Yeah. Dirty Dan, take it away.
You've got all the marbles, buddy. The UFO abduction of pilot Frederick Valentik while he was mid-flight. Now, just by that title alone, it reeled me in because I was like, there's no way. But then reading an actual published paper on it, he was in a Cessna 182. I'm a big aviation guy. And the noises that were described that were heard over the Mayday transmission, no way is coming from this plane without anything else happening, including losing power and the ability to Mayday. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
On October 21st, 1978, Australian pilot Frederick Valentik disappeared into thin air. It was during a 125 nautical mile training flight aboard a Cessna 182L over the Bass Strait between Tasmania and the Australian mainland that the co-founding incident occurred. It is important to note that the 20-year-old, who is an avid enthusiast of alien stories and ufology, was a fairly experienced pilot. At 7:06 p.m., while at 4,500 feet, after departing Moorabbin to reach King Island, Valentik reported that an unidentified craft was following him. Melbourne Flight Service insisted that there was no traffic near him, but the pilot was adamant a large vessel was now on his tail. He explained that it had 4 bright lights and suddenly passed 1,000 feet above him at remarkable speed. For 5 straight minutes, Valentik described its movements and shiny metallic exterior. Suddenly, Valentik experienced engine trouble. Melbourne Flight Service asked him once again what the aircraft looked like. "It is hovering, and it's not an aircraft," were his final words. The last sound radio officials heard was a metallic scraping sound. Authorities presumed he had crashed, but at a later search of the area, yielded not a single clue. Not even the Australian Department of Transportation could ever find answers. In 2014, however, new claims came to light. A UFO action group in Victoria alleged that an unidentified farmer observed a UFO nearly 90 feet in length hovering above his farm on the morning following Valentik's disappearance. More importantly, the farmer purportedly claimed that the pilot's plane was stuck to the UFO, leaking oil. While the farmer said he scratched the airplane's registration number on his tractor, he never came forward, claiming that the ridicule he'd received from his peers after telling them his tale had discouraged him. Unfortunately, the Victorian UFO group never managed to identify the man. For the UFO Action Group's lead investigator, George Simpson, frustration abounds. It's easy for some to dismiss, but there are corroborating stories confirming there was a UFO near Adelaide at the time. This was an experienced pilot who should have been able to identify another aircraft, but was clearly unable to. Ultimately, only a few possibilities regarding the disappearance of Frederick exist. He crashed his plane, and his remains were never recovered. That he purposely disappeared, or, of course, the one that supported the best, was that he was abducted by entities we don't understand yet.
I always find it fascinating when you have pilots that actually make reports, because they don't have anything to gain by making reports of seeing UFOs or being abducted, or, years ago, there's more coming out now over the last 5 or 6 years than there has been in the past, because they would be ridiculed, they would be made fun of, and they just didn't do that.
But it's bad when a farmer will scratch the tail number into his beloved tractor just to remember it based on what he saw.
Yes.
And the thing that got me was that the farmer said the plane was visibly dripping oil as this thing hovered 90 feet above his house or his field.
Yes.
That's a magnetic pull. That pulled that craft so hard up to the belly that it cracked an engine case.
I totally agree with you.
And if it was seen right above the spot, and I mean, there are several different departments that scoured the land. Obviously, he didn't crash because it's all on radar.
Yeah.
He just disappeared. There's no trace. Okay. On something like that, you can't turn that flight tracker off.
Right.
Where'd he go?
Only time will tell. So.
Or will it?
Oh, hopefully. Moving on to some top 10 scary movies. Now, this is according to RottenTomatoes.com.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Number 10, the 2017 version of It. I will give him that. I kind of agree with that. What about you?
I'm not a fan of that movie whatsoever.
Okay. What about Insidious, number 9, 2010? I don't agree with this one.
I don't agree with it either.
Number 8, Sinister, came out in 2012. I've never even saw the movie.
Sinister?
Yeah.
I think I fell asleep to it.
Okay. So you don't agree with that either?
Nope.
Now, number 7, I do agree with this one, but it should be higher on the list, is the 1978 version of John Carpenter's Halloween.
I love that movie.
That should definitely, in my opinion, be in the top 5.
Top 3.
What about The Ring, 2002?
Okay, I love The Ring. That is my all-time favorite movie, honestly. Except for the part where the horse jumps over the ferry side.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I've never saw The Ring. I've never been into anime or Japanese horror movies.
It's not animated.
Well, I know, but it's Japanese. So when I just don't get into all that stuff. That one came in at number 6.
You should really watch that one at least once. And when you know what? When you visit the barbecue pit, you're going to watch it.
Okay. I don't know, man. It just seems boring to me. I'm sorry.
It's honestly not. I'm that jerk that when you hear or when you're in a theater and watching a really scary movie and everyone's freaking out and shrunk down in their seats, you know that one donkey that just starts laughing profusely in the back very loudly? That's me.
You. Well, all right.
I did not laugh at this movie.
Really? You didn't laugh at it?
The ending scared the ever-living snot out of me.
Really? Okay. Well, see, I've never saw it. Now, I do agree with this one. I think it should be higher on the list. The 1974 version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I just love that whole story and the incident that inspired it.
Yes. And I do agree with this one. I think it should be higher on the list. 1980s The Shining comes in number 4 on this list.
Ooh.
That is a good one. That is a good one.
It's been a minute since I saw that movie.
Yeah. I think this one should be lower on the list. It comes in number 3, The Conjuring, 2010.
I don't know if I'd want to call it top 3.
Let's see. Number 2, Heredity, 2018. Again, I've never saw that.
Never even heard of it.
Okay. The number 1, and this should be in the top 5. I don't think it should be number 1. 1973, The Exorcist.
Teletubbies Live.
No, The Exorcist. That's what they've got listed as number 1. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've never saw The Exorcist all the way through. I've saw bits and pieces. I have never got into religion-based movies that deal with that type of stuff.
Haven't they redone that movie?
They've redone that a bunch. It's had several parts. It's had sequels. It's had prequels.
I've never seen the old one, but I have seen everything else basically surrounded by it. Or surrounding it.
I personally think that these movies, or the first one should be in the top 10, should be the original Friday the 13th. That should be in the top 10, in my opinion. Also, now these next ones, in my opinion, should be in the top 5. I think Rosemary's Baby, the original one, should be in the top 5. I think Jaws should be in the top 3, the original Jaws. And I honestly think that the number 1 scariest movie I've ever saw should be Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho.
The number 1 scariest movie I've ever seen is Too Fast, Too Furious, and all those beautiful cars that were destroyed.
I still think it should be Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock.
I will. What about you've never seen The Hills Have Eyes?
Yes, I have. And I know Michael Berryman that was in The Hills Have Eyes. That was a really good one.
And then what is it? The Silent Lamb?
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lamb.
Yeah, that really wasn't a horror movie to me, though. I mean, it was scary, but, Well, we're going to save the Kentucky ghost story that I've got. I'll just save it for the next time that I do ghost stories. I want to thank everyone for listening, for writing in. You can always call, text, or leave a voicemail by calling 606-373-3396. That's 606-373-3396. Dirty Dan, how can they email us?
Well, they have several options.
Okay.
They can email goose@heretechewbubblegum.com. They can email me, dirtydan@heretechewbubblegum.com, or they can email the wonderful Rebecca at heretechewbubblegum.com, or they can email the show or say hi to Ned or Elliot at heretechewbubblegum@yahoo.com.
Yes, that's right. And you're going to tell us about a very special group. Is that correct?
Well, you'd be correct. That is 110% correct. This month, we are going to be recognizing this group with their amazing work and efforts called the Till Valhalla Project. It was established in 2017, and it rocks the slogan "Where Heroes Live On Forever" under their wonderful tribute of a logo. The TVP team is all about bringing and spreading awareness of the help that our vets and soldiers need and don't get. The ones who devote and sacrifice their time to protect our lives and freedoms, and sometimes, and all too much, unfortunately, give the ultimate sacrifice of their own lives for us. Their mission is to do whatever it takes, anything to get their name and purpose out to the masses. The sale of their products is going to make a difference, but it's the conversations that come from those and the awareness they bring and spread to lessen the 22 a day plus 1 active duty suicides that is more significant than any monetary donation. We need to support each other, and most notably our brothers and sisters and the families that are unfortunately left behind by them. In 2019, TVP donates an additional 20% of the net proceeds towards reducing veteran suicide, and they have now raised over $1 million in under 2 years. Veteran suicide is a plague, and they're making their stand to stop it, and it's something that we should all join forces with, and not just because it's veterans, but just suicide in general.
Yeah.
It hits a lot of people hard, and it's usually not very well foreseen. So if you want to support, reach out, comment, donate, help. They do a beautiful, absolutely beautiful memorial plaque that they donate to any and every fallen veteran, soldier, active duty, no matter what the cause is. It was started by service members and their families, and it's run and reaching them. Please reach out to them at the tillvalhallaproject.com. And then let's not forget the team over at Adventures with Purpose, or AWP. You can check them out at adventureswithpurpose.com or YouTube, AWP and Adventures with Purpose.
I want to thank special thanks to Carlin for all the voiceover work, and I want to remind everyone to be sure to visit Friends of the Show, CK and Uncle Bill over at deadpit.com, Justin Perkins of Talk Junkie, Jordan and Brad with Down on the Holler, Seth Ambergy at Seth's Daily Podcast, Elliot, Gertie, and Beagle of the SpookyFamilyPodcast.com, and Chris Sloan at the Mountain Mysteries Podcast.com. If you want to awaken more, check out Rebecca Short on TikTok and Honest Rebecca Thoughts on Twitch. That'll do it for this week. We'll see you next week, and until then, so long for now.
Maybe I'm not leaving. Maybe I'm just going home.
Thanks for listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. Tune in next time as we dive deeper into things the government doesn't want us to know.